Wake up, buyer payer people. It's a beautiful day. Go grab yourself another cup of joe and say hello to Jim and Michelle Rhoads on the Buy Here Pay Here Morning Show. Take it away, you two.
Goodness. Hello,
Hey,
everybody.
welcome to the Utah studio. We're back.
Yeah, we slight apology.
Yeah, we missed an episode.
We missed an episode
Friday,
on Friday, and that was the day I was flying back home,
and we were with family.
and it
but
was
we've
like
never missed a slot.
we've never,
usually
like,
at least done a rerun.
and we didn't. So
And
sorry.
So, apologies.
to-
So for so many
yeah.
of you who must sit by your computers just waiting anxiously for today's episode of the Buy Here Pay Here Morning
Yeah.
Show.
And
We normally don't do that. We've never done it.
I'm kind of like off to the side using different equipment than I normally do. My best friend has been here visiting. I flew home early, and my best friend flew in from Sedona, and we've been playing, and she's talking to a client right now. And so we invited her to come join us. So I'm set up. She may just pop in at some point. Don't know, but
And I'll apologize on Michelle's behalf for all those other people who are her friends who thought they were the best friend. Now they learn
I have
in
a lot
really
of best
public
friends.
way.
I have
that-
a lot of best
okay,
friends.
all right.
Yes,
Just
I
try
do.
to
I
crawl
really
back
do.
on that one.
Yeah. She, it's funny that with friends that there are some that you can get like real to a point,
Mhm.
and those that you can't get real with, and
Yeah.
those that you like can get raw with.
True.
And she's one of those kind of friends that
Mhm.
like you can get raw with.
Because you guys, you served prison time together. And
Oh, we
so
did. Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No.
Of course not.
Silly. So I hope everyone had a wonderful Thanksgiving and just, the holiday. It's and there's lots of different ways that people celebrate. And we had a great opportunity to spend the holiday in Jim's hometown and with family, and it was really, really lovely.
Yeah,
And
for sure.
No,
it was definitely good to get connected with family. I was able to see my brother, and my son came up from Austin, and so that's always great. And then, of course, she had pumpkin pie we had whipped cream with pumpkin pie.
yes.
And so there's that.
I left after only having a very small sliver of
That's on you,
pumpkin
honey.
pie.
That is
Danny,
totally on
come
you.
join us.
Hey, there she is. Welcome.
There you go.
You
I'll
can slide
turn
in.
up
We'll
your-
get her a microphone. She's just wrapping up a meeting in the other room. So, so she's a business coach herself in a way. So, or a life coach,
Make sure that we're-
more better description probably. But let's get her on a microphone and a headset. You got some ears for her over
I
there?
have some ears right here. Yep. So Danny. All
Welcome.
right, everybody. You
Meet
guys
Danielle.
get to see a little bit inside of my my small world.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Danny.
Welcome.
So,
Glad to have you here.
Yeah. He's talking about how sometimes you have friends that you can get kind of real with, ones that you can get real with, and ones that you can get raw with. And this is my
And
raw
I explained to our listeners
Yeah.
that you and Michelle met in prison.
Yeah.
That's where you right.
Oh, you're giving away all of our secrets.
Yeah, all the backstory. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
we're glad to have you here. So we just we're dispensing of our updates and kind of recounting our holiday weekend. I got a couple quick things, a couple announcements. We've got all of our dates set for our V8 meetings for December. And I set Monday the 9th for our deadline for data submission. So what that means for our listeners out there, for those dealers that are sitting out there on the fence and hadn't gotten in, it's time to stop with the procrastinating and let's get you in a V8 group because we got a chance to get that closed up for December here and get some folks in there at the current rate.
Exactly. So, it's coming soon. And again, current rate at the beginning of the year, the rates are changing. So this kind of gets you an opportunity to get in so that you can experience this at,
And we just have
it's a special,
few seats
it's
for
a
those.
Christmas special.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't procrastinate.
So, why Danny is here.
Yeah.
Danny, when I first met her, had a brick and mortar and so understands the plight of a small business owner and now is an entrepreneur in a different way. It's more of a virtual entrepreneur. And has a direct understanding and intimate
Sure.
deep understanding about what it means to be a business owner and the challenges that come with that, and how, our topic today is about community outreach. And we had a really great, we do coffee. Everyone that listens, we have coffee time every morning, and we talk buy here, pay here. And Danny, when she joined us, we were like, hey, we would love your input on this. And so she was able to be part of that conversation before the show and had some really great insights. So we asked if she would join us today.
Right. So she understands community connection and customer relations and all that stuff. So for today, Danny, we're really just talking about this idea of community outreach and how dealers, our dealers are buy here, pay here dealers. They do their own financing. They have long relationships with their customers, unlike somebody who might just sell a car retail, pay cash, and the customer goes on their way. In our case, we have a long tail with the relationship with the customer. And then there's also just the matter of getting connected with a community who's not yet our customer. Sometimes they'll never be our customer. They're just our friends in the community, right? So that's part of what we're talking about, really. And so I was thinking mostly about, when I started into this topic, I was thinking mostly about other businesses, like just thinking about how do I reach out to my fellow businesses and get to know them in the community and get them to know me and be able to give to my community, right? Without any real expectation of anything in return, at least certainly not anything near term.
Yeah. And, part of the conversation this morning when we were talking was you brought up the challenges, the challenges of what it means to be a small business owner. And you want to talk a little bit about that there's so much to do and so much on your plate to do. And
oh yeah. My first reaction on this topic was, oh man, I got to do something. I got to give back. Oh man, that sounds like a lot of work, and it's going to cost me money. And what is it going to look like? And then as we began to kind of explore this a little bit, there was, like you said, Jim, many different aspects to this. When with my company, the first thing I do is I put myself into the customer's shoes. And so as we were talking this morning, I thought to myself, well, if I bought a car, and I think about, the last car that I bought, I thought, wow, it would have been really great if they had reached out to me after I purchased the car and said, hey, how are you doing? How are your windshield wipers? We're coming into winter. Hey, what about this? How is your experience? Is there anything that you need?
Sure.
That would have gone a really long way with me. And I think that a lot of these dealers probably have a really large database of clients. And so that's their immediate community, the part of their community that has already engaged with them. And we could call that the low hanging fruit. And so if the dealer that I had purchased my car from had done that, just very simple, not like stalking me or, wanting anything from me, but just reaching out to say, hey, how are you doing?
Yeah.
Maybe like once a year, twice a year, that would have been, wow, I'm going to go back to them. I'm going to use them for the next, purchase that I'm going to make.
Yep.
And then the second aspect of the broader community, of how to reach out to those, whose emails we don't have, whose addresses we don't have, that we can't send them a Christmas card to say thank you, or we can't send them, something funny. I know that you two have such a great sense of humor. That would be another idea.
What?
That would be really, I know. But for the broader community whose contact information that we don't have, that's where we want to get creative in a way that, like, if I was in a dealer's shoes, I'd be like, okay, what is going to be fun? What's not going to cost me a lot of money? What's going to help me to become known, liked, and trusted within my community?
Right.
Yeah.
So I can think of, if I'm a dealer, and I want to give a quick shout out to Nick Doom and Tyrone Tire in Tyrone, Pennsylvania. It's a client from the past with us, and somebody that we have watched kind of develop their business. And certainly, his situation a little bit different. He's in a smaller town, but Nick certainly puts in effort continuously to not only help his own customers, but he does a lot of community outreach. He's always socializing things that others are doing in the community, whether there's some event or whatever that's going on. He's often doing that kind of thing. And he serves as an inspiration. I would urge people to hop on Facebook and follow Tyrone Tire and Automotive, I think is their Facebook handle. But he's just somebody who kind of lives it. He just does it, and it comes naturally for him. It's kind of a heart matter. He's just is out there helping his neighbors and community and just kind of being a good neighbor.
Mhm.
And so this is kind of, we're on a White Hat Wednesday, which you've heard us talk about White Hat Way. Danny, you know what that's about. And so when we think about that, it's like, how do we, and I'm always trying to help dealers separate between, there's goodwill efforts, and then there's promotional events. And in a promotional event, we're trying to sell something, and poor dealers, they're naturally salespeople by trade, right?
Yeah.
And so they sometimes many of them have a hard time turning off the sales element. Like, let's do this thing, but when the customers come, let's sell them a little something.
But
right?
there was something that I appreciated, as Danny was going through how she would perceive it, is that is a real motivator behind community outreach, is becoming known, to have people become more aware of who you are and that you care and what you do, and how, so when that time comes, that they are, I need this, I need a widget.
Sure.
And they already know you because you're a part of the community.
Yeah.
And what that would look like. So let's just take a couple of examples of possibilities. Okay. So let's say it's cleaning up the neighborhood. Cut community service, and the dealers grab their teams, and you put it out to the community that, hey, we're going to go and we're going to pick up garbage on this day. We're going to clean up this area.
Yeah.
And so you do want to have a flyer that says sponsored by community members, we care, something like that.
Sure.
Because if nobody knows what you're doing, then you aren't becoming known, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
If you have something like if you want to look at something fun, I love the idea of go-karts, right? Throwing it out to the community.
Like, we're gonna have a go-kart race.
Yeah.
And we're
right?
sponsoring
and
this
it's
thing.
all about the fun. And it's all about the fun.
I love that. And that was one of the things we were, we were just like throwing out just all sorts of different ideas. And we live in Utah, where we joke that, where we look, that you would think that was one city, but there's probably 12 cities in where we can see, and each one of them has their own celebrations, Christmas, summer, whatever, and they have their own celebrations where it's like, bring the community together, and we're going to do a fair, or we're going to do like a Christmas fair, or we're going to do just our like a birthday fair, summer celebration. And I was like, how great would it be to do, like, get a booth and have your people there, and it's like just nothing but children's games.
Yeah.
And it's just nothing but, like, it's free, or you don't have to pay anything, sponsored by, and it's a way to play with our customer and their children. And it could be like, you don't have to be a child to play the game. Come play the game, have some fun, and engage in that way. Because play, when you make something playful, oh my gosh, barriers just go whoop. They go down, and people love to have fun and laugh.
And I would take that even one step further and take all of it, because I can see all of the kids playing, and I can see their parents hanging around, and I can see on the toy something that says White Hat Way Dealer. We care.
Yeah.
And so that every time the child plays with the toy, or the parent sees the toy, they'll remember that was something that came from you.
Yeah.
And that
it's like the McDonald's toys. The kids get something to play with, and every time they play with it, it's like, oh, that came from McDonald's. Oh, that came from
Yeah.
So, you get ideas about actual events and actual activities. I think if we back up broader and just say,
why?
Yeah, why do it? Like, it certainly, and let me just make sure our dealers that are listening understand that you're going to do more business as a result of this.
Absolutely.
But what I'm asking you to consider is, when you're playing a long game, that you consider that I'm not going to this event with the expectation of selling a car this afternoon or tomorrow, or it's about differentiating and playing a long game, and getting to be known, liked, and trusted is the thing that we refer to. And that starts with getting to be known. And if I can get to be known in a way that the customers, so if I meet somebody at the county fair, or if I meet somebody at a parade, and they can take away from, oh, this company, Tyrone Tire, in case of Nick, Tyrone Tire seems to be a company that cares, They seem to have fun. It seemed like that would be a
that's like
fun
all
place
of
to
the
do
things.
business, right?
Yeah, and it's like known, logo,
Right.
liked, fun,
Right.
trusted. They
Sure.
always show up.
Right.
They're always there. There's just always they're there. And we were having this the conversation this morning about, and you even brought in, it's like, well, it's a lot of work, and so I better have something happen on the bottom line.
Yeah.
And it's like, yes. And
yeah. And I remember with my company when
Mhm.
I started exploring how I wanted to be a company that gave back, that cared. And I did. I took care of my employees. I gave them the Cadillac of business plans, and I gave them the retirement accounts, and within the community I engaged with my company was within the wellness space. And so I was out footing it, building relationships with doctors. So I would go and say, hey, my name's Danny, and this is what I do. And just to become known.
Sure.
Yeah.
And then I would continue to be something. How can I get in front of them? How can I get in front of these people and build a relationship?
Good.
And that's what I called relationship marketing.
Right.
And relationship marketing is the long game. It's where, for instance, if I was a dealer and I was looking at, okay, who can I build relationships within my community that will really help progress my company forward? And that could be with the loan organizations.
Right.
I mean, who else?
Tax preparers.
Oh, there you
Income
go.
tax.
Income tax.
Actually, automotive repair too.
Automotive repair.
Yeah. It's and where are the businesses that our customers frequent?
Yeah.
And I mean, it could be even like the grocery store or the local whatever. We were talking this morning about how we have the opportunity as we build these. There's like our customer, our neighborhood of customers that maybe not a customer right now, and then the community of businesses within that community, and how little things like you going around and hoofing it is it creates it can create a really beautiful relationship. And we were talking about going down to the Dairy Queen, whatever, like a local place that has ice cream cones, and say, hey, if I give my customers a coupon for a free ice cream cone, will you sell it to me for a discount? And so what it's doing is you're getting hey, customers from your mailing list, past customers, present customers, swing on by and pick up a thing at the dealership. We're solving a problem right there, which we hear all the time from dealers, is that how do we keep that connection with our engagement? And so it's like, swing on by, pick up a free ice cream cone. And then what you're doing too for that business is you're dropping your customer base into their business as well. And so it's like, it's win-win, real big win-win.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important to mention too that, so, when I did go out and hoof it, right? I was tapping into as many of the locals as I possibly could. And I think I had maybe like 100 packages that I had dropped off to say, hey, hi, this is who I am. I'd love to build a relationship with you. Of those 100, I think I might have got 1 or 2.
Right.
But that 1 or 2 became a huge referral source for me.
Sure.
And that boosted my business it really moved me forward in a way that was really beneficial.
I just think the whole concept of being known, liked, and trusted, I'll give you a quick example. Our same guy, Nick, back in Pennsylvania, one day I saw a post that he had done. It was actually another business, and I think it might have been a nonprofit in his community, was doing a shout out on social media. Hey, shout out to Nick over at Tyrone Tire for offering us a free tow on something or other, I think was the deal. And so, but the takeaway is, Nick didn't do that to sell a car. But if I saw that ad and my niece or my daughter is in the market for a car, that's obviously going to impact who I would choose to send them to do business. So it's not that the person who sees it is necessarily going to be your customer. It might not be today, it might not be next month, but the idea is that I'm getting to be known, liked, and trusted in that way. So I want to pause and read some stuff that's coming in on LinkedIn. There's a guy from Joe in Manitoba who says, Joining the community builds trust and connection. Plus, it feels good to give back.
That's
That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm in integrity with me.
Sure.
And when I'm in integrity with me and I'm giving back, that's energy that comes back
Yeah.
to me. Yeah.
I think I would add giving back authentically, because what I watch is
Yeah.
when I see people,
Yeah.
you can stand up and be a dealership and you can publicize that you donated $1,000 to a local charity, and you can do a big photo of the check and whatever. There's something about that when you look at that is, why is it on social media? Like, what? And did the dealership post the thing on social media, or did the charity? Because there's the thing about what comes across as authentic and what crosses into looking disingenuous. It's like, just because you wrote a check doesn't necessarily mean you care. You could have written the check in the context of promotion, right? And so this is why I think we gotta be able to differentiate there and be able to genuinely and authentically give, because we want to. It feels good to give back. And as we talked about this morning, like, we love for dealers to be able to lay their head on their pillow at night and feel good about the business they're involved in, whether that's their team, the way they treat their customers, their whole we talk about in White Hat Way, a dealership as a business being an asset to their community. Well, what would an asset in the community look like? It would be somebody who's authentically contributing to their neighborhoods, right?
Yeah.
And all these kinds of things.
And you hear all the time, which it's a valid point, but and we're coming at it this is that I give back to the community because I serve the community in a way that they need serving.
Right.
It's like my business serves the community, hence I give back to the community.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And we're talking about the and.
Yeah.
That it's I have a business that serves my community, and we serve the community in this way as well, or that we outreach in this way as well, or that we help other businesses, small businesses in our community this way. And that's the and.
Right.
And what's so beautiful about that is when the individuals who are part of the White Hat Way movement and they're on board with that, what you're doing is transforming an industry.
Yeah.
It's really beautiful. And I really love that because, the idea of buying a car for a lot of people can be a very intimidating and scary experience. And when a dealership is on the White Hat Way, in the White Hat Way, operating in, through, and around all of that, that customer is going to come in and have an amazing experience.
Right. For sure.
And it's transformative.
Yeah. I think the way I like to think about the White Hat Way element, whether it's in this context, we're talking about community outreach or customer service, is like when the dealer themselves, because culture and that whole thing flows down, right? From the dealer, it starts at the top. So when my whole culture and my whole team is about the customer experience and the community experience, all those things, then can mistakes happen? Can there be miscommunication in the service department? Of course, that stuff happens. But when you have that sort of culture throughout, and the attitude is one of giving and making sure the customer has a good experience, and that really the way I love to think about it is if you're my customer, I want to make sure when it's time for you to refer a friend or family member, you have zero question about referring them to us.
Yeah.
So that's how you think about customer service and why this stuff matters. I want to read another one.
Okay.
This one, believe it or not, this one's coming from the UK. This is crazy that this stuff is happening this morning on LinkedIn. Carlos says, community outreach builds trust and connections, creating a stronger fabric in neighborhoods is about giving back with purpose.
Love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, and then I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right. It looks like it's Monica, but she's out of India, which makes me think somebody out there has stirred this up somehow.
Well, honey, I look at analytics and it's just like, sweetie, we're global, and that's okay. It's like but this is
unusual.
Yeah,
we have 3 people commented, and all of them from outside the U.S. This one says, investing in community outreach builds trust and loyalty and boosts local connections that matter in business.
Amen.
Right?
Amen.
And I responded to her already.
And this is another and. White Hat Way is about learning to is we're teaching a formula to be known, liked, and trusted in your community.
Right.
And it goes, there's there's a lot of businesses that they're becoming known, liked, and trusted is a massive social media campaign, or, and it's promotion. It's and promoting the reviews and promoting the, look, other people, which is really important because people like to know, oh, so-and-so down the street who's just like me had a great experience. And so that's great. This is different. Yeah. This is the and. Again, it's just another example of the and. It's not about the self-promotion, because marketing is really, really, really important. It's important to grow a business, and it's an important element to become known, liked, and trusted. Sure. But this is taking it a much deeper step forward.
Right. You have something else, Danny? I think when I think about these things, one of the things that we're moving ahead with in White Hat Way is helping dealers better tell their story. So it's in this context of becoming known, liked, and trusted. So we want them to be able to build trust in their community. Michelle and I talk about it often, that in relationships, personal relationships, business relationships, one of the ways you build trust is by just making small deposits again and again and again. And eventually people start to trust, right? And so I think in the marketing standpoint, it's like we want to help dealers better tell that story. First of all, we want to help them build up a bank of trust. So how do you do that? Part of how you do that is you go out in your community and you just show up again and again and again. And eventually people start to say, oh, they're pretty reliable.
You can trust that they are going to show up. And so it's not about like every time I have a problem with the car, are they showing up? But it's like they show up in our community. They're there and they're part of the things that are happening.
The person says, hey, I met this guy who's a car dealer. We probably tried to sell you a car, right? No, actually didn't.
Yeah.
What does that say?
That says a lot about,
It says that's probably the kind of dealer I'm going to be most comfortable doing business with. So so again, when we talk about these things, I think dealers sometimes would hear it and say, well, Jim, but I got to sell cars. I'm not saying that you're not going to sell cars. It just may not happen today.
It's a long
You're
day.
going to build trust. You're going to, and so the part of how you do that is
sell cars, and you will sell, very likely more cars.
Yeah.
But what it is creating is a really solid community base of like, I am part. I'm not just a business I am part of the fabric of this community. And I loved some of those comments that you got through LinkedIn. And it's about, it's like, I am a thread in the fabric of the community and becoming that. And it's like that thread doesn't have to come with contingencies.
If I were a dealer right now, I would be thinking about, okay, so what is going to be fun for me? What is going to be something that I can rally my team around? That my team would be excited to participate in, and so I would even encourage dealers to create little powwow sessions with their teams and going, okay, what do we want to do? Do we want to do a food drive? Do we want to? I mean, I'm kind of a little bit more on the woo-woo side, so I would recommend like little cards that say, "Hey, you are loved," or something like that. And just keep that shit up, right? Something like that, where you have your team members just hand them out to random strangers on the street, and maybe just a little bit of your logo in the corner or something like that. But something that would be fun and engaging, that feels good. Because if you're doing something that doesn't feel good, there's going to be the resistance in it, and it's not going to be as effective.
I'm glad you brought up the team, because your team is a very important part of your business. And so it kind of, they talk about culture comes from the top down, and then you can really infuse just playfulness and known, liked, and trusted within your team as well. And Danny was talking about when she had the wellness center in the Seattle area, that what she would do for her team for Christmas, and I was like, this is building known, liked, and trusted for her team, is that they'd go to the mall. I mean, where are malls anymore? But they would go
they're all over the place. Yeah. Or you can meet at a restaurant.
But they would go to the mall, and she would give them all a crisp $100 bill and says, you have an hour. And
this is the team.
This is the team. It's like $100 bill. Go out and buy something for yourself, not for someone else, but for yourself, and come back and report on it.
Nice.
and talk about it.
Show
And
and
so,
tell.
and it was show and tell, and that they just had such a great time
Mhm.
and it was a team building. That's just as important as this community building. It's
Right.
the team building, because
Yeah.
when you can build a team that really loves to play with each other
Yeah.
and loves each other, then you're going to get buy-in really quick
Yeah.
about creating that in their community.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they will report, I love my job. You know,
Uh-huh,
and I
yeah.
remember I actually did the garbage pickup day one time
Uh-huh.
and they hated it.
It's
I
work.
was like, oh,
Dirty.
okay, we're not going to do that one again.
Well, and you heard me say this morning, I'm always sensitive because I'm a former dealer. Like I had a dealership
Yeah.
for years, and I'm always sensitive to the idea that I don't want to create events that the team is going to dread.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
you don't want to end up with that sort of situation. And so we talked about the Christmas party. There will be a lot of the dealers listening who
Mhm.
are hosting a big Christmas party and giving back in that way. And I just think that's part of what we're talking about. But I think, you know,
This
we're
is
obviously trying to
year-round.
do this
Yeah.
52 weeks out of the year.
Yeah.
And just getting the team involved makes a lot of sense because you want them to be invested in that. But among the ideas that we talked about like I'm loving the idea of being able to sponsor a lunch at your local food kitchen, you know, and give them a break. Like one, you know, Wednesday, just do pizzas for them, and just you can
Or
say
whatever,
it's from
yeah.
the dealership or
Mhm.
whatever that might look
Yeah.
like. So that because how can we contribute to the community? There's all these different ways. You can financially, right? You can
Mhm.
give of your dollars. You could give of your time.
Mhm.
You could give of your resources, which was kind of the towing thing, you know, as an
Mhm.
example of that. It's like there are all these different ways that we can give, and they don't have to be a heavy lift for us,
You
right?
can give of your being,
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know, like, yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Just being there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just being there.
Yeah, for sure.
I
So
love
I think
it.
we've covered the parts I wanted to cover, and again, we appreciate people listening in. And appreciate all the comments on LinkedIn. That's great to have.
Yeah. We don't
folks
typically
in.
have LinkedIn open while we're
That's true. I
completing the
don't.
stuff.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
catch the stuff after,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's just nice to see that happening. So
Hey everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. Wednesday, White Hat Wednesday. Danny, thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to do a little plug. Danny, there's a book on Amazon that's called The Ordinary Extraordinary You that she is the author of. She's written many books. Another one is Good Decisions, because life's too short to not eat chocolate.
Good decisions most of the time.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because
But I
life's too
would
short.
recommend the extraordinary,
The Extraordinary
You, 'cause
Ordinary
that
You.
would be a good one for the team.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice. Okay.
yeah,
That would be a good
yeah.
one for the
I
team.
made a
So-
good decision once.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody, again, thank you so much. We will be back on Wednesday. We're probably talking very straight line, but we love weaving more and more White Hat Way into our straight line topics.
Yeah.
Hope you guys have a great afternoon, and we will see you on the other side.
Mhm.
Thanks so much.